I think we get there. Yeah, good game. All right. Hi there, I'm the BigCraigO and you're watching the next in my deck tech series. Today we're going to be playing a Dimir control deck. Dimir Daddy deck is what I'm calling it. Basically one of the channel's followers flicked me a list that he saw somewhere. If it's your list, thank you very much, it's a cool deck. It looks like a cool deck. What we're going to do is go through and actually have a look at what goes into the deck, what the cards are, what the synergies are, how it works, talk a little bit about the archetype that is control, and then look at the mana curve and how you should be planning your hand for each turn. Yeah, play some games and then we'll do a wrap up at the end and talk about what I think of the deck. All right, so without further ado, let's go and get in and have a look at the actual cards that make up the deck. All right, so here we are with all of the different cards. So control, to start off with, control is a term that's used generally to, I guess, describe what happens, your opponent, when you're playing this type of deck, you're trying to control what happens. You use things like card removal in the form of creatures. You sort of have cards that allow you to destroy their creatures or take out your opponent's creatures. You have counter spells which can stop their creatures from even entering the battlefield, or other spells from entering the battlefield. And generally speaking, they'll have a way of slowing down and just sort of constantly putting out more mana so they can stop your opponent from doing what they want to do. And then they'll have a finishing card at the end, something generally speaking quite large and expensive mana-wise, but once you have no cards in hand, or you're in a situation where you can't do a lot, that's when they will close in for the kill. All right, so that's control in a nutshell. It is an acquired taste. Some people really don't like playing against or with control. Some people love playing with control. And some people, I suppose, enjoy playing against control, but mostly people get frustrated. So in the 1-drop slot, there are 0 cards. This particular deck doesn't have any 1-drops. What it is designed to do is the first turn, you can play cards that come into play tapped. You can play cards that actually, like a land that comes into play tapped, sorry, and set yourself up for a sort of longer term game. In the 2-drop slots, we have a single Disdainful Stroke, which allows you to counter a target spell with mana value 4 or greater. It runs 4 of the Jawa Disruption, not Jawa, Jawari Disruption, sorry, which is a counter spell unless your opponent pays 1 extra mana. So it's sort of situational, but it's not bad for a 1 blue and 1 other. The other option, of course, is if you get this later in the game, you can actually bring it into play as a blue mana source. It does come into play tapped though. There's a full play set of those. Runs a single negate. This counters target non-creature spell. And then 4 of the brand spanking new uncommon, power, word, kill. 1 black, 1 other. It's an instant, destroy target non-angel, non-demon, non-devil, non-dragon creature. Basically, as long as it's not one of those things, it can destroy that creature. So just be mindful of that if you are trying to build your decks around this card. If you come up against certain decks, you're going to really struggle. But in the mainstay, as long as you've got other options and other availability, you should be fine with other removal. Moving on to the 3-drop slot, we have a play set of Saw It Coming. This is the go-to counter spell of the format at the moment. So it costs 2 blue, 1 other to counter target spell. Doesn't matter what type of spell it is. You can also foretell it for 2, and that reduces its cost to 1 blue, 1 other, and it is an instant. I love this removal card. It's been around for a little while, and it gets some use, but not a huge amount. Soul Shatter. 1 black, 2 other. It's an instant as well. Each opponent sacrifices a creature or planeswalker with the highest mana value among creatures or planeswalkers they control. Really, really good card. It is an instant as well. So it means that you can wait for people to do the things they're going to do, go to swing into attack, and then you can use it. So they have to sacrifice the creature that they're attacking potentially with. 4 drops, we have a full play set of Beholder Multiverse, 1 blue, 3 other. Scry 2, then draw 2 cards. This can also be foretold, which is put into exile for a cost of 2, and then it will only cost you 1 blue, 1 other to cast it, and you can do that at the end of your opponent's end step. So that means you get to draw some extra cards. There's a Hagra Mauling, 2 black, 2 other. It's an instant removal spell. This spell costs 1 less to cast if an opponent controls no basic lands. It could happen, unlikely, but it could happen. It allows you to destroy target creature. It can also come into play instead as a black mana source. That does come in tap though. We're sort of pushing up now into the higher casting cost end of the deck. We have 3 of the Imrith Desert Doom. I absolutely love this card. As soon as I saw it, I was like, I want this card in decks. I wanna do amazing things with it. I think it's brill. It's 2 blue, 3 other for a dragon creature. It's legendary, 5/5. It's got flying. It has Ward 4. Ward is a mechanic that was brought out in Strixhaven. Basically, what it is Ward has a cost. So it could be to pay life. It could be to pay extra mana. For this particular one, Ward 4, which means that if you target this creature, you have to pay an extra 4 mana. Otherwise, whatever you target it with gets countered. Very, very cool. I like it a lot. And if that's not enough for you, if this creature is tapped, that ward disappears. I should say that before I go on. But if it's sitting there just doing its thing, like it's amazing. The other thing that this has on it as well is whenever Imrith deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. Then if you have fewer than 3 cards in hand, draw cards equal to the difference. I love it. So it's a card draw engine as well. So big fan. So because it's legendary, we're running 3. This is a finisher, so you want to make sure that you can get it to stick on the battlefield. It does have some protection in that ward, but we'll see how it performs. We also run 3 Shadow's Verdict. This is becoming more and more the bane of all of the little decks in the world. 2 black, 3 other for sorcery speed. Exile all creature and planeswalkers with mana value 3 or less from the battlefield, and all creatures and planeswalker cards with a mana value 3 or less from all graveyards. Very, very cool. It just wipes the field. All of those sort of white weenie decks, etc., just really get smashed by this. And at 5 mana, it's a very, very well costed spell. Finally, as far as the spell side of things go, we have Aldrin's Epiphany. So basically, we have a full play set of these. Create 2 1/1 blue bird creature tokens with flying. Take an extra turn after this one. Exile the Epiphany. And you can foretell this for 2 as well, which means it reduces the cost down to 2 blue and 4 other. It is a sorcery speed spell. Very, very cool. So you can basically set your board state up, put Imrith down, then cast Aldrin's. All of a sudden you're like, cool, I get to have another go, so I'm going to be bashing in and causing more damage. I've got a couple of birds that can be on block, detail, or attack as well. Moving on to the mana side of things, there's 8 basic islands, there are 6 basic swamps, a full play set of the pathway, blue-black pathway, 4 ice tunnels. As I said, this is the sort of spell that you would play first turn if you had it in hand, because you don't have any 1-drop, 1 casting cost spells to play, and that gives you your black and blue land mana options, so that's quite good. It runs 3 crawling barrens, so this is somewhere for you to put your extra mana in at the end of your opponent's end step. You would then go, okay, I've got so many mana, I'm going to tap all that mana, put more counters onto my crawling barrens and make it larger. So it's another threat that is hard for them to remove, maybe. 2 new land cards also in this deck. So we've got Hive of the Eye Tyrant. So this is a land, if you control 2 or more lands, Hive of the Eye Tyrant enters the battlefield tapped, so you want to play that first or second. You can tap it for black mana. You can also pay 1 black and 3 other. Until end of turn, it becomes a 3/3 black beholder creature with menace, and whenever this creature attacks, exile target creature from defending player's graveyard. It is still a land. I think, given that there is some sort of recursion type decks, these the red-black Croxer decks, etc., this could see some more play. We'll see how we go. I'm not sure 3/3 is going to be protected. There's a lot of removal in those decks as well. The other land that is from the Forgotten Realm set is Hall of the Storm Giants. This card is cray. I love the art for a start. I live in a tropical place where there's a reef, and I think this looks really cool. If you control 2 or more other lands, Hall of the Storm Giant enters the battlefield tapped. Tap for 1 blue mana, or you can pay 1 blue, 5 other. Until end of turn, Hall of the Storm Giant becomes a 7/7 blue giant creature with ward 3, and it's still a land. So yeah, that's a pretty good finisher as well. So there's a lot of different synergies in this deck where you can use certain cards to protect other cards. Obviously, if you've got counter spells and you can activate your Hall of the Storm Giant and bash in for 7, your opponent then decides to target it with a removal spell. They're going to pay an extra 3 mana, then you counter that removal spell. That's the control way. We don't have a sideboard for this one. It wasn't sent to me with a sideboard, but to be honest, I play mainly best of 1, so that works out. All right, let's go and check out the mana curve. All right, so it is a control deck, so that means we've got a higher casting cost of 3.7. Considering we start at 2, you can see obviously there's a lot. There's 10 two casting cost spells, 8 3 casting cost spells, 5 4 6 5 drops, and 4 6 or more. So basically what we've got here is a situation where you can see that the mana curve is definitely all about playing a land every turn, making sure that you keep on curve and just keep doing what you're doing. You have to be reactive, not proactive when it comes to control decks. If you just go and spend all your mana, you're going to get smooshed. 3 creatures in this deck, 30 non-creatures. It gives you an example of what you should be doing, sitting back and just waiting for your opponent and reacting to what they're doing. Runs 27 land because you want to hit a land drop each and every turn. And just don't forget too that you've got 5 land that can become creatures and do damage. So that's pretty cool too. All right, all in all, I think that the mana curve is fairly straightforward. It's definitely leaning more toward the blue side of things with those counter spells, but it does have removal. I'm curious to see how it goes. So let's go and check out. Let's go and play some games and check out how it goes. Okay, so we're up against Sparky, Arena's AI program. I did that with my every deck tech the first game I played, just to give me an opportunity to work out the different lines of play with a particular deck. So having a look at this hand, plenty of land, some removal. Yeah, let's give it a run, see how we go.
Like a good spot for practice.
We'll play the tapped land to start off with because we can't play anything with the one mana anyway. Yeah. Okay. Just basically sit back now and build up our land. Take 1. Really need some form of removal here at the moment. Okay. We've got a little bit of time, but yeah, it's not gonna get better if we leave it for much longer. All right. cancel that. I'll put this into out there. Okay, so we're down to 13. I have 5th land. Now at this point in time, keep pushing out like that. We've got a little bit of instant removal here. We've got the counter spell, so we'll just see how we go. All right. Down to 10 we go. I'm gonna draw some cards, hopefully. Not hopefully, I am gonna draw some cards, but hopefully they're things we need. Put both of those on the bottom of my deck for now. Okay. We're at 3, 6. I need one more mana before I can cast that straight off the top. I'm gonna play Dimir Dragon Daddy out. Okay. This works out fairly well for us. Attack with 5. Last turn.
Good. Real
So basically what we're doing is just bashing face as quickly as possible now that we've got in a position where we've got counter spells, etc. Foretell this. Foretell this. Move to the attack step, attack for 7. Drop them down to 8. Nice. And just sit back. Alright. Oh yeah, see what we would have drawn. More removal. Counter, sorry, not removal. Swinging for lethal. It's pretty straightforward deck, all in all. I mean, obviously I understand I'm playing against AI. So, but I'm a big fan. When I first saw this card, I thought, oh my gosh, this is going to be a bonkers good card. All right, well, let's go and queue up some games against some human opponents and see how it goes. This hand looks fairly good, so we're going to keep it and see what happens, hey? Got some lands we can also draw and potentially counter, so we should definitely do that. Alright, play this tapped. Yep, Luminat. I need some removal. Nope. Yeah. Take 3, go to 17. All made here. Let's go this way. Yeah. Take 5 damage is pretty bad. Alright, got to breathe for a second there. Okay. Blue. Okay, so we need another black. Foretell that. And sit back. Now, if nothing happens this turn, all good. I'll play the Behold that's in Foretell. Get some land, get some this, get some that. Sure. Yeah. Okay. Wow, that's pretty crazy. All right. End turn. Yep. A man land. Keep the land coming out. Okay. Play that. Next. keep pumping up the crawling barons, is the theory. Go to this one. Pick one. Got another basic like that. Take that action. Attack. Drop them down to 24 and 10. Now, if they activate the Frost Dragon Cave, I'll use Soul Shatter, so they'll sacrifice their own creature. But it doesn't look like that's their plan at this stage. I was wrong. Down to 18 they go, in turn. Sure. Drop them to 10. Let's see what they've got. Pretty cool artwork. Looks pretty sinister. Okay. Play this land. Activate this. Take action. Move the attack step. I have to block with the giant. And 10. I was confused as to what that was going to do. All right, so we get there. Oh wow, that was an interesting little match, bit back and forward. Okay, let's go on to the next one. Well, this opening hand looks fairly good. It's got some counter magic and some land, some removal. So yeah, it's definitely keep. We'll just have to draw into some threats. which all of our threats are late game anyway, so that works out. I love the fact that the dragon's still sleeping. Cool. So my opponent's basically stripped my hand, which is really cool. Play this next. In turn. Yeah, good old rankle. That's when you want to have what's the 5 casting cost? Anything that gets discarded, she puts back into play. Whatever, I can't remember the name of the card, but that's when you want it anyway. I'm guessing the deck has it. I just haven't seen it yet. Oh. Okay. End turn, yeah. So we'll see what my opponent can do as far as taking out the drag. Yeah, seems legit. All good. Okay. This is when you'd want to drop an Ugin. End turn. Sure. See you, Mr. Birdie. Fine. Play this. Tap 9, being lethal. I think we get there. Yeah, good game. Alright. Alright, let's go on to the next game. Okay, so we've got land, counterspell, extra turns, take your stuff away. It's pretty good. Just got to build up the mana to get to be able to cast it all, but you know, we'll get there. We'll get there. First things first, let's play a blue. The old island. Nice. Play a second island. I will put this into Foretell land. Play it black. And then sit back. Nice. My turn. Play a second black. Next. Okay, so our opponent decides they don't like when we play land. Nice. It's definitely Dimir Daddy, that's for sure. Look, I think from my point of view, it plays like a control deck. It's been a while since I've seen a deck in Standard that plays like this deck. You know, you're on the edge of your seat until you get set up, but beyond that, you sort of just slowly grind your opponent into them hoping that, you know, you'll just, you know, forget that you're playing Magic and leave. But ultimately what it comes down to is most people will say, okay, I've had enough, and scoop their decks up, because their cards up, because they realise that they just can't push through the amount of counter and removal that you've got. All in all, I give this deck a C+. It's a great build, and if this is your deck, it's an awesome build, well done. I'd love to shout you out, but I don't know who made it, and I've tried to message the person that sent it to me, but they haven't got back to me, unfortunately. So if you are keen to try out Control, if you're interested in playing something that's a little different to the aggros and combos and bits and pieces, this is something that you should try. I'm a big fan of it. I think that it's a sort of deck that I would play if I wanted to just be very cerebral and sit back and think rather than just turn sideways and bash. Yeah, big fan. So check it out. Like I said, C+, it's a fairly solid deck. I think with a bit more tuning, and as the format shifts and changes, I think this deck is going to become really, really popular. The other thing to shout out to, or just to highlight, is this deck, if as it currently stands, as you've seen in the deck tech, etc., across this whole video, it's legal for the next X amount of months. Every card that's in this is going to be in the format going forward, so it's rotation proof, if that's a thing. Assuming nothing gets banned, but just given the information we have right now, it's perfectly fine to be played. So that's pretty cool. Other than that, guys, don't forget I stream Mondays, Wednesdays and Fridays, 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time on Twitch. You can find me under the BigCraigO. Check it out, come and say hi, let me know that you've watched my videos on YouTube. If you are keen on watching content, each weekday I put up content at 10 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, a couple of deck techs, a couple of other bits and pieces, so check it out. Feel free to give this video a like or a dislike if you think it sucked, and comment away, let me know what type of decks you want. Is this the kind of deck that you would play with the new format? Is this something that you've played before? You've played Control before? And if not, what type of deck do you think that you're going to pilot throughout this season with Forgotten Realms coming out? It's early days, it just dropped today, so that's why I'm keen as a jelly bean to get some decks and play some more games. All right, other than that, guys, don't forget to check out in the link tree below. We've got a Discord, we've got a Facebook. Obviously, you know that we're on YouTube because you're watching this. Twitch-wise, you can always, if you're a follower or a subscriber, you unlock additional functionality on our Discord. So, e.g., you get to get into more areas. If you're keen to catch up and play some games or otherwise, I have a section in the Discord where people can put up their usernames for Arena. You can also find in the Discord the links to Grey Viking games, so if you're keen on getting some cosmetics or codes for Arena, click on that link, it'll take you to their website. Anything you purchase there, it won't cost you anything extra, but the channel will get some thanks from those guys that we can then convert into codes to give away on stream. We also have a long-standing friendship with Spectrum Games. They're based in Sydney, Australia. So you can check out their web store at www.spectrumgaming.com.au. They are They are a physical magical card seller and accessories for physical magical cards, not digital stuff. So check them out. It's where I buy all of my physical cards from if I can get them from them, and I always let them know what I'm after, because even if they don't have it, they'll keep an eye out for you and let you know if they get that stuff in. Other than that, guys, I'm going to get out of your hair, let you have a great day. Hopefully catch up with you on stream in the not too distant future. Other than that, I'll see you on the battlefield.